So it seems YouTube is letting their bias be known again, and of course, much to the disapproval of their audience, because, of course, much like SJWs of any other stripe, they don't tend to learn their lesson when they meet with this kind of backlash. In fact, the only surprising part about this at all is the fact that I have seen very few other channels address this video, and personally I think they should, because now this regressive bias of theirs has actually evolved into a full-fledged rallying cry. And if they're going to try to build an army over this crap, I think it's time that our community focus on their chosen champions. I won't be playing the entire video here, as it's 1 minute and 34 seconds of pure word salad and a complete waste of your time. But if you choose to watch it for yourself, the first thing you will notice is that they are deliberately vague in conveying their intent, avoiding detailed specifics as if they somehow think that their viewers aren't fully capable of seeing through their bullshit at this point. And clearly they're wrong, as indicated by their abysmal approval rating and the fact that you can scroll through the comments on this video for a good long while without running into a single positive response. Everyone can see through your charade, YouTube. Change can literally mean anything apart from our current state of affairs. The meteor that came screaming into our atmosphere 65.5 million years ago and ended the reign of the dinosaurs was also a form of change. Yet I doubt we'll be seeing its depiction in a two-tone, emotionally charged campaign poster anytime soon. Another Holocaust would be a big change as well, but good luck getting most people to see the idea as progressive. The word change doesn't necessarily denote anything positive, YouTube, and that's precisely why you're so dishonestly skating around the issue instead of saying what you actually mean. Because you know that the vast majority of people are not going to agree to the change for which you advocate. You know that most people are going to see it as bigoted, and rightly so. And you're trying to do anything you can to fish for those last few people out there who are living under a rock and haven't heard of this discussion yet, hoping that this candy-coated progressive veneer will influence their opinion before they even have the facts.
Hey friends!
What's up, family?
Morning, guys!
Let me get straight to the point, yeah?
Meet the YouTube creators for change.
These four clowns represent the quality of person YouTube sees fit to blaze the trail for change. So let's dissect this circus and find out just what YouTube sees in them, shall we?
Hey friends!
I think it would be fair to say at this point that Francesca Ramsey needs no introduction. But just to summarize why she is such a piece of shit, and why we shouldn't task her with affecting change in our world, she wants us to believe that all white people are invasive, overbearing, racially insensitive pricks who believe white blood makes everything more attractive. She's only capable of seeing racial injustices against people of color, honestly believes that shitting exclusively on white people and blaming them for all of the problems in the world does not keep racism alive, and has a tendency to reduce the position of her opposition to absurdity through cringeworthy comedy performances. She holds all current white people accountable for the actions of a minority of their ancestors, even though they had nothing to do with those actions. She believes all black people suffer the repercussions of their ancestors' hardships, even though the vast majority of them alive today suffered none of those hardships themselves. And everywhere in between, she insults our intelligence by painting an absurd and entirely fictional picture of her opposition and her supposed encounters with them. She believes black-on-black crime doesn't exist, completely dismisses the statistics when they're presented, and honestly believes that murder of blacks by whites is a national epidemic when blacks actually kill whites at a much higher rate. I could continue, but I honestly believe too many YouTubers have already spent far too much time acknowledging this black supremacist piece of filth as it is.
What's up, family?
This woman is a joke. She's just another example of people who wear their religion, and the hijab that goes with it, like a fashion statement. She clearly only respects its status as a religion of brown people, and observes absolutely nothing about its tenets or the opinion of the majority of its followers in the Middle East concerning how she, as a woman, should conduct herself in public. Any one of the ways in which she presents herself would easily get her reprimanded, if not executed, in her religion's ancestral home. The entire point of the hijab is an outward expression of women's modesty in public, and considering her over-the-top makeup, facial piercings, brain-dead duck faces, and bedroom-eyed, lip-parted porn star gazes, everything about her self-presentation just screams attention whore. Amani is nothing more than a loudmouthed, obnoxious Kardashian clone in a headscarf, and nothing about her or her channel gives me any reason to believe that her professed religious beliefs carry any measure of sincerity beyond their modern aversion to anyone and anything associated with straight white males, as is made perfectly clear by her most recent video in what appears to be a purely Western phenomenon of wearing a baseball cap over her supposed spiritually significant headdress, and her support of diversity propaganda on the grounds that it represents what this country actually looks like. As if 90 to 95% of the people in this country aren't straight, and as if 62 to 77% of the population in this country isn't white, depending on your definition of that word.
Morning, guys!
Dina Torkia is hardly any better than Amani. You may recognize her from the last cancer-ridden YouTube Spotlight video to which I responded. #her voice is my voice.
So many people around the world have a very negative idea of what Muslim women are like. It's pretty simple. We're awesome.
Nobody has a negative view about what Muslim women are like, YouTube. What we have a negative view of are those oppressive laws under which they are forced to live, and the corporal punishments they face should they choose to disobey. Just because you choose to delude yourself into thinking that the burqa is a symbol of feminist empowerment does not excuse its actual intended purpose. I honestly still can't believe that the most blatant offense to women in the modern world is being touted as a positive example of female empowerment, let alone in a hashtag campaign placing emphasis on her voice even though her voice is silenced by the very religion you are compelled to defend. This awesome Muslim woman either had a Muslim man's permission to be on that stage and say those words, which any sane person knows didn't happen, or she lives far enough away from Islam's continent of origin that she can afford to be willfully ignorant of its grim realities regarding the female sex. And having seen her channel and her representation here, I maintain what I said now more than ever. She spends the lion's share of her time making makeup tutorials, a hobby which would definitely not be supported to this capacity in the Islamic culture of the Middle East, seeing as how they would at the very least prefer her to cover her face in public. Beyond that, what remains of her content amounts to little more than vapid garbage vlogs appealing to the lowest common denominator. Just from her video content alone, I can already tell that she spends a mere fraction of a percent of her time addressing any of these issues at all, YouTube. She clearly spends far more time fussing over her makeup and vlogging over how fascinating her life supposedly is. Even in this video, the title of which suggests she may give the topic its due attention, I had to wait through a solid 14 minutes of mindless, self-centered, irrelevant crap before she even mentioned the hijab. And when she did, this was the reason she gave.
I really don't like wearing it, but I know like the only reason it's still stuck on my head in whatever style and whatever way I do it is literally because I know that is what God wants.
Because she believes that she can somehow cherry-pick her God's demands, abide by those which she finds bearable even in acknowledging their oppressive nature, and dismiss the rest as if her defiance thereof wouldn't just as easily see her punished in the Middle East. This woman, just like the glitter-encrusted human blow-up doll before her, does not represent the plight of most Muslim women in this world. And yet, YouTube refers to her as a creator for change simply because she identifies as a Muslim in a time where they seem to think that all white people are hostile and xenophobic, as if the Western culture in which she lives, and which facilitated her with just shy of 649,000 subscribers to hang on her every word, is somehow a problem. As if the Western culture that has furnished her with so much adoring fame and exorbitant fortune for chasing her passion at the ripe old age of 28 is somehow oppressing her.
Let me get straight to the point, yeah?
Oh, God. Supposedly, this douchebag is a comedian in the UK, and based on his subscriber count, a comedian with a decent-sized following. Well, as a connoisseur of stand-up comedy myself, and with a healthy respect for many British comedians of the past, all I can say is that I hope this is some kind of freakish anomaly. I'd like to think that his Nuts in a Vice brand of ear sodomy does not actually pass for comedy in the UK on a regular basis. Apparently what he's best known for is his so-called Badmans series. And in watching the first few videos, I can tell you right now, it is pure cringe. A garbage sketch comedy series with a highly stereotypical gangster rap aesthetic. Because, of course, every vital notion of modesty that Islam is supposed to hold sacred all but evaporates when it meets its Western victim complex. And predictably enough, for all of this movement's constant whining about diversity, not a single white face has graced his channel in all that I've watched. And believe me, I watched more than I imagine most of you would be willing to tolerate just to be sure. Because apparently it's only acceptable to omit white people's representation on camera. Apparently it's only racist when a show or movie is exclusively white. What a fucking shocker. And amidst all of this, just as those before him, his participation in rationally discussing these issues seems to be non-existent if his video content is of any indication. In fact, the only video that I found addressing anything outside of his own race and culture was Badmans World 19, Asian People versus White People Going on Holiday, which served only to demonstrate that he has likely had zero personal contact with white people at all, because the white people he's trying to make fun of don't exist outside of the racist cartoons in his head. I know that a lot of what I've said here can be taken as ad hominem, but seriously, they gave me next to nothing to work with in terms of their arguments. Of the four of them, Francesca Ramsey is actually the most qualified. And that ought to tell you something, because despite everything that comes out of her mouth being a laughable misrepresentation of reality, at least she has legitimately talked about these issues on this platform before. The other three channels are little more than monuments to their creators' gargantuan egos, and as such, it's clear that YouTube dubs them creators for change simply based on the fact that they are proud of their race in such a way that would earn any white person the label of bigot. If these are the four they chose to represent their entire movement, I have no doubt that the same could easily be said for the rest. And I guarantee you that all of them are far more interested in unassailable preaching than legitimate and productive discussion. If there are any more substantial arguments out there from these people, please direct me to them and I'll gladly respond, but I'm not expecting much. It's time we show YouTube exactly how sick of their bullshit we are. I propose that, for at least the immediate future, our efforts should be focused on dismantling the nonsense from any and all channels associated with this page. I, for one, will be happily shooting down every anti-white, anti-male argument I can find from this most recent of YouTube's divisive brainchildren. And I hope my peers and superiors in this community will follow suit, because enough is enough. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw here, have a look at my other videos and leave me your thoughts in the comments. If you support my message, then please like, favorite, and subscribe. If you'd like to help this channel improve, you can reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook with any suggestions. And if you'd like to support me more directly, please consider following me on Patreon, links in the description. Thanks again, and I'll catch you all in my next video.